and look forward to the future with the Raiders.
Brendan, when you looked at J.J. Pegues, I think is how you
There you go.
pronounce
You got it right.
I mean, you watch him, and he's at that size, over 300 pounds, jumping over piles like Billy Sims. Just talk about his athleticism, if you would, and just kind of how you thought it fits what PG and Pete want to do, please.
Yeah, great question. Unique player for sure. You look at his career path, they really moved him around a lot his first couple of years at Ole Miss. He's a local guy from Oxford, which is kind of cool too. Played some tight end, played some fullback, then kind of made the transition to full-time defensive tackle this year, really last year. This year, you watch the tape, it's unique. He's playing on the end, he's playing inside, he's over the nose, and then he's obviously playing the short yardage fullback, wildcat quarterback, tight end. Unique athletic traits. We'll see what he does for us. Excited about having him here.
And when you look at, the two guys that you drafted from the FCS level, and Cam and Tommy, how much of pride do you take in being able to scout those smaller school guys and bring them in and have confidence in your coaching staff and your ability to be able to develop them?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a credit to our scouts, really. The guys who did those two areas. Greg Ruvini does North Dakota State, and then Matt Hand does Montana State. But I think the common theme between those two guys, they're winners. They faced each other in the national championship game. Both athletic guys, competitive, tough, hard-nosed, and they've led their teams for a bunch of years now. And specifically to your question, we go everywhere. Our scouts hit the road all fall. We visited both those schools. We've sent national scouts to both those schools too. Credit to Lenny McGill, who was over the top of those schools too. So we cover them all the same. Obviously, you're going to visit the FBS schools 2 to 3 times each scout. The FCS schools, we still devote a lot of attention to those. And those two programs in particular are really good programs too.
Hey, Brandon, this is Tashawn Reed from The Athletic. Speaking on Tommy specifically, I know at his pro day he also did some drills at receiver and returner. Do you guys sort of view him as a quarterback only, or is he a guy that can move around good?
Yeah, I wouldn't pigeonhole him right now. I would say we view him as a receiver that's going to have a lot of value in the kicking game, potentially as a returner, as a cover player. Maybe he plays some quarterback too. We're looking really as an athlete/receiver, but he's a unique guy. I mean, his testing numbers were through the roof. 4.41, 40, really high vertical jump. His testing was outstanding. Yeah, he threw routes, and then he also ran routes too at the pro day. So I don't want to pigeonhole him necessarily, but we think he can do a variety of things.
Those guys share some traits. Sorry, out of Las Vegas Review Journal. Those guys share some traits that several of your prospects that you drafted share, and that they're in college for a long time. I know it's a unique time right now that NIL guys staying around, but how much was that something you looked at in terms of guys that have really stayed around and developed their skills more and are more ready to play right now, maybe?
Yeah, I think those guys have a proven track record of production and winning. I'm not as focused on the age necessarily, and I'm more focused on the traits, the personal character, the football character, the intangibles with those guys, and those guys have had great careers, respectively.
Kevin Bollinger, Fox 5 Vegas. When you're done with the draft and you're looking for the 15 UDFAs, what are you looking for with that group as you get them signed?
Yeah, that's a good question. Guys that'll be competitive to make our team and make our practice squad. We have really good process where our scouts each handle a position. They work with our position coaches. They watch the list of guys that we project to be undrafted or late round picks. And we have a vision for those players that we sign, and ultimately we think they're going to make our roster better. They're going to be competitive to be here and make our team, or at worst make our practice squad. That's the intention.
And Cody Lindenberg is a guy that, you put on the tape, he's coaching other guys on the field, putting them in position. Kind of stole him in the 7th round. He slipped a little bit. What is it? How do you see him fitting into this Patrick Graham defense?
Yeah, I think he's a great fit. He was a Green Dot guy from Minnesota. He's played a lot of football for them. He's a high character, high intangible guy. He's tough. He's competitive. I think he's got really good value in the kicking game too, so I think he's going to be a good addition to that room.
Brandon, you talk about traits, and Dante Thornton is a 6'5", 4'3" guy that pretty much speaks for itself. But coming from a program where their offense is a little bit different than maybe some other offenses, and maybe the wide receivers aren't asked to do what other wide receivers are, how do you kind of separate those two components?
Yeah, we joked, Mark joked that was the Al Davis pick of this draft. The height, weight, speed, raw traits, athleticism, speed. And I think it's just focusing on what he can do and what he can be. I mean, he's a 4'3", low 4'3" guy. He's 6'4" plus, 200-something pounds, big-time 5-star recruit, goes to Oregon, then goes to Tennessee. You watch his target tape, I think it's pretty impressive and we think he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. We think he can still refine and improve under our coaches, but he definitely has physical traits that are outstanding.
Do you see him? Do you see him eventually being a full route tree guy?
Yeah, I wouldn't limit his potential at all. I think we believe in what he can be, and he's got some unique qualities in terms of his size and speed. I think that will help him have an immediate impact, and I think he can grow from there.
Would you talk about the upside of Tonka Hemingway, please?
Yeah, Tonka's another unique guy. He's played a lot of different spots for them. He can play 3 technique, 5 technique, big end. He's got interior rush ability. He plays the run well. Definitely another guy that tested really well, ran sub-5. Unique player that has some position flexibility, and another high intangible guy.
Brandon, I believe you've been here through 3 different regimes now. I'll speak about the past, but with this current group, how have you kind of seen the collaboration kind of between the scouting side and the coaching staff play out so far?
Yeah, it's been great. Like I kind of started with, Pete's got this very clear vision for the type of guys he wants and the type of team we want to be. And I don't want to speak for Spy, but like their relationship's awesome. It's been really cool to watch and be a part of, especially over the last month or so here with Pete. I think we know exactly what we're looking for, and it turns us in the right path, and we press the gas and kind of look for those guys and prioritize that in our process.
You guys have been doing this a long time. Have you ever come across a defensive lineman that you think could also help you in short yardage situation, A, and B? I know Pete likes to throw guys into the fire. Is that the way it's going to be with him, or do you balance that a little bit, not wanting to put too much on his plate early?
I don't know. Have you seen a defense tackle with?
No, Vita Vea caught a touchdown pass in 2019 in Atlanta, so yes. Yeah. Not to talk about other players.
We had Vince Wilfork in New England, so we've had maybe a few.
We can talk about Vince.
Yeah, Vince is retired.
We would never talk about Vita.
When you talk about Cam and really what stood out to you about his game, he really seems to be almost a prototypical Pete kind of guy.
Yeah, he's a winner. I think like 45-3 or something like that. His record at North Dakota State's outstanding. He's really, really competitive, very tough, very athletic. I think when you watch the tape and when you get to meet the guy, he's got some unique qualities in terms of leadership and football character.
When you look at those 2 quarterbacks, obviously this is the culmination of a years-long process, but when did they specifically enter your radar as potential pro prospects?
Yeah, both are probably last year at this time. Both guys got on our radar. Again, both from very successful programs, high production. So we had awareness of those guys at least a year ago, and we started the process on them really like summer, I would say.
I guess as you're narrowing down this and knowing that you like both of them, obviously you drafted both of them, going back and watching that championship game, how fun was that? And I guess on top of that, like they've had a long rivalry, and you're talking to both of them through this time. You speak to one about the other one and say, what did you see from him and get some insight?
Yeah, I guess Cam probably enjoyed that last game a little more than Tommy, but no, I don't think we necessarily ask him about that. We ask him about their experience and what that game was like and what it meant to them, and we spent a lot of time with both guys through the process. I don't know if I necessarily asked them about each other, but we spent a lot of time with both and feel good about both guys.
I know John said pre-draft, at the end of the draft, every team is happy and felt they had a great draft. Now that you're done, do you guys feel like you accomplished everything that you wanted to get done in these 3 days?
Can I go real quick? We didn't trade today, so I felt like we missed a chance there. But other than that, I'll let him speak to that.
Yeah, it was interesting. There's a couple things I'll point to. We drafted a player from each of our 6 areas, which I thought was cool, each of our 6 areas that Spy mentioned. And then we drafted players at like every position. So I thought it was a really well-rounded, competitive, and Mark's it was a fast draft class, which Mark appreciated too.
Brandon, Besh, 1 drop last year. Porter, no PIs, even though he's just making a switch. Competitive guys, but successful. How much does that go into your scouting when you're giving John reports? No PIs here, only 1 drop. Those type of little intangibles.
Yeah, I think you could say both are dependable players, accountable players, know what to expect, and Betch's competitiveness is through the roof. I think that's clear when you meet with him and if you've talked to him yet. And Porter, too. Really cool story if you're not familiar. Former receiver, bounced around, moved a corner, really high upside. Both guys really competitive and tough, too.
You guys brought a lot of quarterbacks in for 30 visits, did a lot of homework on the quarterbacks. Was it just kind of how it all sort of played out that it wasn't until the 6th round that you pulled the trigger on that position?
I'm just here to support you, buddy. You got it.
I think every year you have to do the work on the quarterbacks. I definitely believe that, and I would say we started that process even before we traded for Geno, too. So we were pretty deep in the process of scouting quarterbacks even before that, and not that that would have changed our mindset. I think you have to do that every year. And maybe some years you spend more time or you cast a wider net, but that position's unique, and I think you have to devote a lot of resources to it.
You were going through the scouting process for Ashton Genty, just not you, but your whole department. What was the biggest thing that really stuck out to you? And also, do you believe, just with this draft class in general, that the value of the running back is now coming back?
Yeah, we think Ashton's a pretty unique player. His combination of speed, explosive playability, breaking tackles, yards after contact, ability to catch the ball, pass protect, see as a really unique player.
Seems like you drafted a bunch of guys that either had played multiple positions or transitioned from one position to another in college. What goes into evaluating guys like that may not have, like Porter, for example? I think he only had like 600 snaps at cornerback in college. Like, how does it make it harder to evaluate a guy? Like, what goes into it?
Yeah, good question. I think that's really our scouts' job, is to project what they're going to be in the future, where we think they can grow, not only year 1, but year 2. That's kind of how we define players. Like, by year 2, what do we think this guy is for us? And with some of those guys you mentioned, we think there's a lot of untapped potential and growth with those guys and in this facility and with our coaching staff.
Just to add to that real quick, too, I mean, I think one of the cool things about Porter in particular is the collaboration between ourselves and Pete and the coaches, and a vision for a player like that. That's incredibly empowering to the scouting department to be able to bring players that are unique like that to a coach and have them go, hell yeah, I can work with that guy, as opposed to, I'm not sure. That's not the way Pete is, and you guys will know that. But, I think that pick in particular is a testament to Pete and the coaches and their vision and their open-mindedness to whatever the best players are to help our team.
When you go back to the defensive linemen, there was a lot of production behind the line of scrimmage with both of those players, sacks, TFLs. I know that obviously this is a game of production, but there's also the traits and all that kind of stuff. But how much priority do you put on, or emphasis do you put on making plays like that?
Yeah, good question. I think the ability to disrupt in the run game and pass game is critical, especially for interior defensive linemen. That's where they can impact immediately. Yeah, I think that's important for that spot.
If you kind of read through the scouting reports and bios of guys, it just kind of stood out that several of them are academic all-conference, academic honor roll, those sorts of things. I guess how much does that play into what you guys are looking at, and is that even something that is a consideration, or is it just kind of maybe coincidence? Those are the type of guys you're picking. Yeah, I think it's a testament to their dedication to what they're doing as student athletes, and also to their capacity intellectually. We prioritize football intelligence, and I think that's a reflection of that. And a lot of credit to the guys who have graduated from college too. Seeing that all the way through for 4 years, 3 years, whatever that is, I think that's a testament to their mental toughness to finish that with what they've got on their plate from a football standpoint.
Day 3 specifically, Raiders fans may be unfamiliar with some of the players that were selected today. What should excite them about the group in its entirety that you came away with?
Yeah, I think the competitiveness of this group is pretty unique. The competitiveness, toughness stands out to me, especially with some of these late-round guys that we added.
Brandon, Pete's made it clear he wants competitive guys, and I'm just curious, how much respect about your scouts, because anyone can watch game film, but they have to find out how competitive are these guys outside of the field where the scout doesn't get to hang out with them. How much did they have to dig to find this group of guys?
Yeah, that's the critical role of the scout. Like you said, everybody can watch the tape and kind of know Ashton Genty's really talented. Jack Betch is a strong physical playmaker. Our scouts do an unbelievable job of getting the football character and answering those questions, and that's not hard to do. But if that is hard to do, excuse me. But if you look at our group, like, we have a very experienced college staff. They have great relationships in their areas. They're well-rounded. They know how to get that information, and they know what we're looking for, too. I think that's an important piece of it.
That's good.
Just one question for John. First draft as GM, just from a personal standpoint, how's it feel?
I'm tired. No, it was special. You know, it was a special group of people up in that room, and the collaboration that we had. You know, I'm lying to you if I didn't tell you this is a lifelong dream come true, but to do it with the group of men that I just got to do it with, and Julia, you know, Julia was rocking in there with us too. So, you know, I just, you never know how they're going to go. The trades yesterday weren't necessarily planned out, but as you look back, I felt like the strategy that we approached it with, the manner in which we accomplished it was really solid, and now we'll just see. You know, everybody, there's 32 teams, like I said the other day, that all feel good about it, and I'm happy with the way it went because of the teamwork that we had, the people that worked hard, the unselfishness of the group, just whatever it took to make the Raiders better. That was what the room was about, and I felt like we did that. So, you know, it was the first of hopefully many, but it certainly was a special one.
Guys, well said. All right, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thanks, guys.
They did?
Probably should have saved it.